Good morning, everyone. Today is February 2nd, Friday, 2024. It's 11:32 in the morning, almost noon. It's currently -2 degrees. The wind's gonna pick up during the day, probably a 10-degree wind chill at some point in the afternoon. I'm not wearing my snow pants, but maybe I should have. I'll endure it on the way there, but I'll put them on the way back. I brought them in my middle case anyways. So, oh yeah, and it's very humid. Very, very humid. So, it's chilly. It's wet. It rained yesterday. And, well, I gotta be careful with the roads, basically. I'm going to my mom's place. I'm going to my mom's place because my sister broke her leg falling on, slipping on ice and falling and breaking it. It happened to me 4 years ago, so I'm welcoming her to the club. I'm going to go see her. We're going to also help my mom with some computer things. Yeah. And it's been a long time since I've taken my bike out for a ride. I think it was Christmas Day last time I rode. So I'm overdue. Let's go for right. I'm overdue for a ride. I've been antsy. Yeah. Stuck indoors, getting a bad back from it, being slouched on my computer chair for too long. I mean, classes have started, so it's been busy. Learned a lot about personal income tax. It's much more complicated than we think, even though we already think it's complicated. It's much more complicated, especially when you're doing it by hand. So yeah, it's been a long time since I recorded. I've edited a few of my videos a few times over, and I needed new stuff to edit and try some things out. If you're new to my channel, I am Montreal Rides, and I go around writing, talking about anything and everything. I will try to create multiple kinds of videos from now on, because most of my videos have been simple, long, uncut videos of my rides. And looking at the statistics, most people stop watching after like the first 5 minutes. So when your video is an hour and a half long and nobody's interested after 5 minutes, you gotta make some adjustments. So I do like the uncut long videos because that's what I want to see. So that's what I want to make. But I've been discovering the YouTube Shorts, a maximum of 60 seconds, which I think is too long. So I'm going to try to make a few more ones that are a maximum of 30 seconds. You know, catch people's attention. Yeah, I want to catch people's attention, bring them to my channel. I lost a subscriber, so I'm down to 4. I don't have a lot of subscribers. Eventually, maybe, we'll see. And I want to make these 10-minute videos, which will be cut versions of my long rides, cutting out the silence, making it just about what I'm saying and less about the ride itself. See if people get interested in that. But I will be keeping the long, hour-long and more videos because I like it. I enjoy the ride of what I'm seeing in front of me and where I'm going. So I want to make sure that that's what I'm giving to people as well. People that love the same thing I do, I want to give them what I like. Gotta have variety out there on YouTube, not just these little snippets to grab your attention and then forget because research has shown that causes dementia in young people. Dementia that should be reserved for older people who have like actual physical degradation of their brain. Well, they now call it juvenile dementia instead of senile. So yeah, people out there watching short stuff, take your time, watch some longer stuff. Take a break, take it slowly. Yeah. So I will allow myself to stay silent sometimes, just because I will be editing the silence. In one of my last videos, I added some music. Complete the entire background as opposed to just here and there. And I think that was a good idea because it helps cut the silence. It adds a little beat. It cuts the boringness sometimes, you know, sometimes it gets long and boring. So yeah, the YouTube audio library is has a lot of stuff to go through, different styles. I don't want to pay for any subscription service that allows you to use like royalty-free material and whatnot. I don't have the money. I don't have the income for it. So YouTube free to use, copyrightless music is the way to go. Also, YouTube automatically recognizes the songs in the videos and adds the credits at the bottom of the description. So if you like a song that you hear in my videos, just look in the description below. Go all the way down below, you'll see a bunch of icons with musical notes. That's where you get the link to the original music. Alright. I started the ride with 88%, which is weird. It's the first time I started at not 100%. And in this case, it has to do with the fact that my battery's been at 100 for way too long. And that's bad for storage, as I mentioned in another video before. I think it was from mountaintop to sunset. Yeah. So yeah, I started with 88% because at some point I brought the battery into instead of leaving it in my place on the charger, I took it to the storage area where my bike is and plugged it in. And then I was waiting on a delivery for a scooter lift, scissor jack. I'm learning new terminology and I don't even know if that's the right one for this one. To lift my bike off the ground, because it's good to start to store your battery at 50%. And you want to leave it at 50, but halfway through your storage, let's say it's been a month, you want to drain it 0, charge it to 100, and then drain it again down to 50 to maximize battery life. So I was waiting for that delivery, but then I found out that it's heavy, and then it started snowing or raining for a few days and whatnot. So I think this is new to me, but I think I discovered that the battery will slowly drain if it's plugged in. In this case, in about 2 weeks, it went from 100 to 88%, which is not bad. I mean, 2 weeks, come on. But it is keeping stuff active inside the bike. The bike is not off even though you turned it off. It's always connected to the GPS. It gets satellite internet updates through the software that the manufacturer sends. It has motion sensors. It has an internal, small internal battery that drains pretty fast but charges pretty fast. Yeah, has an internal battery that charges pretty fast but drains pretty fast, and I've read recently that it's good to keep it charged to extend that battery's lifetime. So I hope the bike path is cleared. If not, I'm gonna have to go back. Oh, look at this. That's some powerful winds. I hope you could see it. Nice. So I'm hoping the bike path is cleared. If not, I may have to go back. I have to go back. This is not an off-road vehicle, so I don't want to risk it. Also, well, they do sell snow tires or winter tires, which it's kind of weird to have winter tires on an electric moped. It's not required by law for electric mopeds, for bicycles, to have winter tires in the province of Quebec. It is for cars. And motorcycles are not allowed in the winter at all. It looks like scooters are, and anything smaller is allowed in the winter, but not motorcycles. And I think that's because motorcycles are allowed on the highway, but they have a high chance of slipping and falling. So I'm guessing that for safety reasons, for the safety of the motorcyclist, motorcycles aren't allowed in the winter. But in other provinces in Canada, you are allowed. I'm not sure which ones, but like Ontario, I believe you're allowed to have motorcycles out in the winter. I don't know if there's any extra laws or whatnot when it comes to the winter tires for motorcycles, but yeah, anyways. So eventually, as I get used to riding out and about all year long, I may have to invest in winter tires for this little buggy there. Just cause. Give me a reason to get out. I was afraid of last month, the entire month of January, like, oh my god, it's too cold, and then kicking myself in the butt, saying, well, why do you think it's too cold? You went out when it was like minus 15 back in November or something like that. So you could do it. I mean, if there's one good side to global warming, is that it allows me to go ride my bike all year round. Yeah. Now, I'm keeping an eye out for these signs because although it's cloud, déneigé as they say in French, not all bike paths are open all year round in this province, even in this city. So I'm not seeing anything. Piste cyclable, 4 saisons. It does say 4-season bike path. So I am good. Attached to the no parking sign, I don't know if you see it in the distance next to the sidewalk where the gentleman's walking. So there's a parking sign, it's just no parking, no special hours, no special days, it's just always no parking. And there's a little tiny yellowish orange sign attached to it to the bottom left of it. And I'm gonna take a moment to read it quickly as I passed by it. It says, Piste cyclable 4 saisons, circulation véhiculaire à droite. Okay. It's funny because the sign is incorrect, but it is correct. It says cars on the right, but this bike path is on the right, so that's kind of stupid. Anyways. It's like a generic sign they created for all of these four-season bike paths without actually thinking about where they were installing it. But anyways, so it's four-season. Woohoo! Gotta be careful of that snow. Don't want to fall. My mom said before I left my house, don't fall. Be careful out there. I have developed a lot of confidence in my riding skills. Pardon me. So I should be okay. Let me slow down for this as a person in a wheelchair. There's an old folks home. It's a residence. Because we have residences, retired residences, old folk home residences with like medical care, nurses and whatnot. Like we saw the gentleman back there, it looked like a security guard that was taking a lady for I'd say a walk for him, and the memories of a walk for her, but a ride in her wheelchair. Because we also have in Quebec with the acronym, for us, it's a French acronym, CHSLD, which is Centre Hospitalier pour les Soins de Longue Durée. It's a long-term care, but it is a hospital center. It is attached to the health services, the public health services. And there's a lot of snow in those roads. I gotta be careful. I really want to go into that bike path. Anyways, and a lot of times when you're in the long-term care hospitalized center, your life is gonna end there. There's like a 90% death rate, a 10% survival rate when you're in a long-term care house, long-term care home. Not used to saying it in English. It's still too snowy. Really tempting though. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm riding at full speed. Actually, nice. I have to practice my stability by removing my hands a bit like a bicycle. But this time it's not my legs keeping me balanced. It's my hips. Where's I going? Yeah, I'm going full speed because I was stupid the last few times. Stupid is a whatever, bad word for it, but I wasn't really thinking about it when I was going to see my parents and being worried about battery life. All I had to do, especially now that I have a center box, a storage box between my legs, all I had to do was bring the charger with me, because the battery is removable. So when I get there, just remove the battery, bring the charger, take it out of the box, bring it inside. And I'm not going there for 30 minutes. I'm going there for a few hours. So plug it in, recharge it, and there you go. Where's the problem? So I decided to be smart this time. And considering that I started with 88%, and considering that I'm going full speed, mode 2, which I call turbo, but I think it's just a regular mode. Mode 1 is economy. Mode 2 is normal. I could unlock mode 3, which is actual turbo, which means you're going to drain your battery fast, but you're going to go fast. But you're not going to get far. But I don't want to do that. When I'm in economy mode, the top speed is 30 kilometers an hour. And that's legally what this bike is supposed to be doing. To stay legal is a maximum of 30 to 32 kilometers an hour. And if you notice, gone. On this, when I'm in this one, I go up to like 36. Sometimes I can reach 38 kilometers an hour. And well, it drains the battery. So anyways, babbling just to babble because it feels good to talk. That's one of the main reasons I took my ride today. Make sure I want to talk, I'm gonna, pardon my French, pardon my language, but it's good to talk shit, to let the shit out. To thank that guy. He saw me and he waited. Yeah, it's good for your mental health. Just let it out, talk it out, empty your thoughts. So I've just been talking since I left. This is awesome. Also, I want to get used to talking out and about, and not always trying to practice that also, but not being scared to talk when there's people around. So not care what they think about what I'm doing. It helps with the confidence. It helps with breaking shyness. It breaks the internal ice we have towards ourselves. So I'm going faster than the speed limit right now. I'm excusing it because most people go faster than I do, and they're in cars, so they're even more dangerous. Gotta stay with traffic. Also, because my legs are a bit cold, it's kind of a good and bad. As in, like, going faster makes more wind hit my legs, which causes a wind chill, which makes my legs cold, which makes my balls cold. I am wearing thermal underwear and my jeans. I am wearing multiple layers on my chest. But it is below zero. It is below freezing. And overnight, the humidity was at 99%. It was one of those, it's so foggy, it may rain because it's so foggy. But it did not rain too much. Most of the water you see is from ice melting because it was above zero yesterday. It's February. In this place of the world, it shouldn't be this cold at this time of the year. It should be minus 20, minus 25, minus 30 on a daily basis, with all kinds of, like, I don't know the right term for it, but because there's like so much snow piled up, not in this case, but usually, and it's cold and it's windy, the snow is not compacting because it's not melting and gluing itself to the other snow. So it stays in a powder, in an icy, like little tiny ice droplets that don't want to melt together, that don't want to compact. It sucks for snowball fights because the snow doesn't hold. And then when there's wind, it just blows everywhere. And especially as a pedestrian, it's you know, you think snow, it doesn't hurt, but it's not snow. It's actually ice. It's ice clouds being pushed into your face. So it hurts. It literally hurts your face. It does little tiny miniature cuts everywhere on your face. You don't bleed from it, but it's like that's what's happening. 1,000 paper cuts, all within a square inch. So yeah, anyways, I am gonna put my snow pants on the way back because it is cold. Now, considering I'm going fast, it is already only about 35 minutes left of my ride. And normally when I'm driving and being worried about my battery, I remove turbo mode, I use the bike path, so I go slower when I'm on the bike path. And pay attention to people and all that stuff. So what usually happens is, I lost my train of thought. That's what usually happens. Anyways, oh yeah, so I get home fast. I don't get home fast. I'm a little confused. So I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get home. To get my parents home, which is kind of home. I live there. They've been there for decades. And depending on how things go, I may get the house. Well, me and my sisters may get the house. And considering the price of homes in today's day and age, Canada, Montreal as well, anywhere, almost everywhere in the world, most people of my generation can't afford to buy a house. Will never be able to afford a house. So a lot of people from our generation depend on their parents keeping the house until their old age, and then the next generation inherits the house, keeping the wealth, the assets in the family. Because I mean, it's a generational thing, and it made sense back at that time when I thought about it, but it doesn't anymore. In this cultural, in the West, the culture a lot of times is that a property is an investment. House is an investment. So therefore, it gains value. The problem is the value goes up faster than the wages. Back in the 1980s, just to give some numbers, back in the 1980s, this is average and the numbers are not accurate, but back in the 1980s, let me find the right wording. At minimum wage, at 40 hours a week, full time, for the entire year, for 3 years. So 3 years of minimum wage salary was the price of a house. So it gives you like a reference point. Three years at minimum wage is the price of a house in the 1980s. Today, or rather almost 10 years ago, the price of a house was up to 8 times minimum wage. 8 years of minimum wage. At the minimum wage of 10 years ago. So considering the spikes that we've had, I would not be surprised if we're up to 10 to 15 years of minimum wage for the price of a house. Now, I've seen some data recently because I'm in an accounting program and we're learning about personal income tax recently, and personal income tax includes first house purchases, credits for first house purchases and all that stuff. So it's considered that a couple combined together, each of them making $75,000 a year, they can afford a 25-year mortgage on a house. The average price of a house in Montreal at this point being $500,000. $500,000. That doesn't make sense. It's a house. It's a constitutional right in Canada to have a roof over your head. Yet the homeless population is rising because the cost of the house is going up. Now here's the good part. Well, good. I'll say, here's where it's good in the world. In Japan, culturally, a house is not considered an investment. The price of the house actually goes down. The value of it goes down over time. And it makes sense. It's breaking down. It's old. The wood has deteriorated. Rust has appeared in the screws. It makes sense. Woo. And, you know, you hear about the cost of living being so high for an apartment in Tokyo. Well, yes, Tokyo is a city of, I don't know how many millions of people. What was it, 10 million or something like that? It's like, it's a megapolis. It's not a metropolis. So, and all the young people want to go into the city because that's where most opportunities are and most jobs and where it's cool and where life is and where there's other people and other youth and whatnot. So supply and demand, you know, if you don't have enough apartments and you have too many people moving in to the city, of course the price goes up. But if you go to the more rural areas, get out of the city in Japan, and they're giving away houses. The houses are abandoned. The government is actually, I'm not sure of the details here, so you know, I'm not Japanese and I'm not into real estate, but from what I've understood, the Japanese government is giving houses away to foreigners as long as they stay a certain minimum number of years in the house, and they must renovate it. They must invest for repairs and renovation. Which, if you really think about it, it's a great investment for someone who like doesn't have the high income but is able to speak Japanese to go there. You get the house. It has that Chinese, Japanese feel to it. And the repairs and renovations will be less than buying a new house. And it's over time as opposed to a one-shot lump sum payment, as in like the repairs are not, it's not a mortgage, it's not a big debt with the interest rate that ends up being 3 to 4 times the actual price of the house. Banks are making too much money. All right. Dangerous intersections. Lots of cars. It's lunchtime. People are going out. %100% electric. Very nice. If you ignore the numbers on his plate, it says love. If you notice his plate is green, it's because it's a eco-friendly vehicle. I don't know if it's only electric cars or if it also applies to hybrids or anything like that, but you get a different kind of colored license plate. It's not just because it's cool and it's green, although you know the choice of green makes sense, but it's also because if there's an accident or something like that, you want to know if there's a gas oil spill. If you see a green plate, there's no oil, so you don't have to prepare for oil, but you do have to prepare for battery fire, which doesn't burn the same way. So just by looking at the plate, you know what to bring, what to take out of the fire truck. Google Maps says I only have 22 minutes to go. This will be a quick ride. I'm happy. Look at this guy. He went on the right just to pass in front of everyone. Even like impeding traffic on the way there. Slowing down to change lanes, making everyone behind him have to slow down. I mean, if you're gonna pass people, pass them. Go fast. Go by them. They may not like you because you're like taking advantage of the open lane to cut ahead, but at least do it so that you're not impeding traffic. Feels good to complain. So, lots of potholes in the winter. It's gonna be a mess in the spring. I don't know what the situation is going forward on this road. I've been on Gouin streets all this time, or Gouin Boulevard. I think it changes the denomination of what kind of street it is as you go forward. Boulevard Gouin West. But further on, the roads were being torn apart. Basically repaving the entire street. Maybe even building some sidewalks on the side. Because there's no sidewalks when you get to the woodsy area that separates the downtown, well, the more central Montreal with the West Island part of Montreal. So because it's winter, did they finish? Did they finish paving and close the stuff up and we could just go through? Do we have to do all kinds of detours? I'm not sure. We will all find out together. This cold on my legs is not too bad. Ugh. It's of bumps and cracks on this road. So yeah, the coldness on my legs is not too bad. I mean, I feel it, and I'm gonna ask for a hot cocoa when I get to my mom's place, and I'm gonna put it between my legs, warm up. But I do have to wear the snow pants. I do have to add that layer. Looks like there is some sort of ranching situation here. They're saying be careful with bikes, but I think it's because they're trying to install a bike path. Yeah, it looks like it. I'm gonna use this path. Hopefully it's cleared all the way through and I'm not stuck trying to go through a snowbank or extremely icy patch or extremely wet patch. It looks like they did a good job. Considering the length of it, you have to do a good job. There is gravel, so that is annoying. It's a stress that is a good stress for me. But at the same time, yeah, it's if I was going even faster, I would not be riding on this. Well, probably I'd be going faster. Oh, and this is where it fucks up. So it's just a temporary bike path thingy. They'll figure it out with time. Come on, guys, fix your stuff. I mean, this entire road was blocked off and it's already cracked and they haven't built anything on the side. And the bike path actually switches sides to the other side. Don't make bike paths switch halfway through a ride, especially when it's a one lane. I mean, I wonder sometimes about how they think about these things, these civil engineers that specialize in road work. I mean, I understand back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, roads were built for cars. But we know nowadays that more and more people use bikes. And with the cost of everything, of living and all that, and the environment's trying to be safe, more and more people are going for these small electric things just for better mobility and affordability. You have to, when you renovate the road, do it right. Don't mess it up. Don't redo what was already there. Improve it. Anytime you tear up a road, improve the road. Don't make it worse. And don't leave it the way it was. Unless it was awesome in the first place. But it rarely is awesome in the first place. My fingers are getting cold. That's to be expected. Yeah. At least this helmet keeps my ears warm and everything. And I thought I needed to put a second neck gaiter. Because I do have a balaclava on my head right now. One of those that covers the head the mouth, the nose, and just you have your eyes out. And but it is thinner. But it is meant for the wind, well, for the cold. But sometimes it's meant for Southern American cold, like Texas regions, which means that it's not cold. I have trouble looking in my mirror at times. Wearing a winter jacket makes your elbows stick out more. So I could adjust the mirror to see more of the road, to not see my jacket, but then I wouldn't see behind me. I would see too far away from me, too much of a blind spot. I think they need to... Back in the 1980s, there was a shop called Chatty. A store called Chatty. They had Lacoste. You know, that little crocodile on the t-shirt, on polo shirts? Back in the 80s, Lacoste was not a luxury brand. It was a rebate brand. They rebranded themselves over the years. But anyways, so in that shop, when my mom was shopping around, there was always these little, like, you know, little toys for kids and whatnot. And one of them was a spy kit. Oh, a spy kit. So it had like invisible ink that you could only see with a black light. I think some of them included the little tiny black light, which half worked. They had like magnifying glass. They may even had like, you know, a little hat or something like that. But one of them was cool. It was a pair of glasses, and on the edge of the lens was a mirror, allowing you to see behind you. So it was like a 2-in-1 lens. You could see in front of you, you could wear normally, but just on the edges, it was a mirror. Now, something like this on a helmet, they exist. I've seen people with bikes having like a little thing sticking out of their helmet. And that could be smart, but it's extra accessory on my head. And I don't like to flash too much. I don't like to stick out. So I don't know if I would get that. Maybe I need to get like these mirrors that extend further, but then I'd have trouble squeezing into cars. Between cars. Between traffic. Now, squeezing between traffic. Technically, legally in Quebec, the province, I don't know about the rest, you're not allowed to do lane splitting. Lane splitting is when in moving traffic, you're going between the traffic on the line between lanes. Whereas lane filtering is when the traffic is stopped and you go between cars, between the lanes to wiggle your way to the front. It's not clear if that one's legal, if you can lane filter. But I'm a bicycle, legally speaking, which is why I'm allowed out in the winter. But bicycles are not are allowed to go between cars. I'm feeling the cold in my balls. I'm sorry. It felt weird. Getting an uncomfortable feeling, and I need to put my hands inside my groin area. I'm currently doing Kegel exercises. which is it's funny, but it's good for your bum area, especially as you grow older. So yeah, Kegel exercises. It's basically squeezing your sphincter as if you're holding in your niche to go number 1 or number 2, but just flexing and releasing, flexing and releasing, flexing and releasing. For one thing, they're all muscles down there, and as you grow older, well, you have less muscle density and all that, so you have to train your muscles to keep them alive and well and avoid hurting yourself. And I'm going to be a bit graphic, and I'm probably going to cut this out of the video, but we'll see. So prolapse, to avoid that at an old age, you have to do Kegel exercises. I'm doing it now because why not? I am 43. I'm not that old, but I'm closer to old age than others that are younger, whatever. I've at least passed the halfway mark on my age, on my lifetime. But it makes blood flow go in there, which blood flow again is good to keep things alive. So I'm currently, because of that feeling I got back there, which felt as if like it was getting too cold down there, so it wanted to recede. You know, they say that when you hit puberty, your balls drop. Well, I just like reversed that. And it's a good thing because it's your body saying, well, I got to keep it warm, so I got to tuck it back in. But it gave a weird sensation. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to describe it more than necessary, but I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. At least half the population knows what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it feels better already, having done that a few times and continuously doing it. I have to do it for my hands too. I have to buy wind protectors. Something to protect my little fingers from the cold. And also in the summer. In the summer, I'll wear some fingerless gloves or a shirt that goes to the thumb that holds on. And but because you're moving in the wind, and especially in the spring, or if you're out in like a more gravelly area, it'll dry your skin because it's like a little powder of rocks and sand. So keep the windshields on the handles all year round. I just have to shop around, figure out how to install it. Maybe have to pay a mechanic to do it because I don't know enough about these things. We are approaching where I need to turn, so I will play it safe by becoming part of the other traffic, because I wasn't ready for this and there's too many cars on the road. So what I'm going to do is cross the street, make a 90-degree turn, although this one's more than 90 degrees. And wait for my turn. So I don't need this anymore. And for privacy reasons, I'm closing it. But standing up at times just to let gravity do its thing on my legs, the blood flow in my legs. was a quick ride. Happy about that. That idea of not worrying about battery charge, just charging it when I get to wherever I'm going. When I have the opportunity to do it, I have to do it. Allows me to ride, enjoy the speed. I mean, I know it's a small bike and I have maximum of 36 to 38 kilometers an hour on a flat surface, but it feels good. I understand why motorcyclists, riders versus drivers, so riders, why they do this. Yes. So my front disc brake has been behaving properly, not being too noisy, even though I hit a lot of gravel back there and the roads are dirty. But it's been doing good so far. So I've been using it actually, as opposed to like the previous year where I haven't, because of the annoying squeakiness. All right, almost there. I will be cutting or editing some of the last parts off, or blurring a lot of it as I get to my parents' place for privacy reasons. But yeah, I don't want to take my hands off steering wheel. I want to get there, but I will turn off the GoPro at some point, but I'll have cut the video before I get there. Just talking to talking. I've talked almost the entire ride. Not too many pauses. There weren't too many stops at intersections anyways, so I'm really happy about that one. Really let it out. So I will be recording another video. So there's a part 2 to this ride, which will be my ride back. It's a lot of wind right now, which is quite annoying. So I will see everyone later. Goodbye.